When you have all your parts ready to cut in AutoCAD, you first need to make a cut sheet. And the way to do that is if you have your parts drawn in model space, you can go ahead and add a layout sheet. So this is your typical 8.5 by 11 layout sheet. Now the laser cutter cuts much larger than that, and so you want to go ahead and edit your sheet size. To do that, go up to the AutoCAD menu, down to Print, and then to Page Setup. Select this sheet you're working on and modify it. In the paper size, you can go ahead and select from all these different paper sizes. I recommend choosing an architectural 24 by 18. That's pretty close to the 29 by 17 cutting limits of our machine and very close to the 24 by 16 that I actually typically cut material with. Go ahead and click on that. You can set your scale. If you are using inches, you can go ahead and set 1 to 1 here and say OK. Once we close this, you can see our sheet gets much larger and our viewport stays small. So just grab the edge of the viewport and drag it out. Now, if we do a couple things to note here, with that viewport selected, you can see the scale in the bottom right hand corner. What you're going to want to do is set that scale to whatever scale you need to print. In this case, I drew it full size and I want to print it full size. So I want to set it to 1 to 1. I can double click in the viewport to pan and move my objects around on that sheet of paper. I also recommend that we go to the model space and we draw a rectangle that is the size of the material that we're going to be using. So in this case, I'll start drawing a rectangle here and I'll make it the 24 by 16 of the sheet of material that I plan to cut. And if I go back to my cut sheet, I can pan, and I want to put the corner of that rectangle pretty close to the upper corner of my sheet. Okay? If I come back then to model space, this is just showing that I will indeed be able to cut everything that I want here. I'm going to escape out of model space. I'm going to select the rectangle and hit delete. Alright, now I'm ready to save this and move it over to Adobe Illustrator. The way to do that is to click on AutoCAD, come down to Print, we'll go ahead and, down to Export, and we'll go ahead and export it as a PDF. Okay, and I'll call this Jenny example, a PDF, and I'm going to put this in my final project folder. Okay, and I'll go ahead and save that. Alright, the next step is to open that file once it's saved. Alright, see it's all coming through here. Once that file is saved as a PDF, I can come over to Adobe Illustrator, click on File, Open, and then open the Jenny example. Okay, Zoom is found in the bottom left hand corner, and you can see there's your part file. I want you to note a couple things. As I mouse around, you can see that there's a rectangle box. This is the edge of the sheet or the viewport. Go ahead and delete that, and delete the second one as well. Oopsies. Okay. That second one is actually, if you right click on it, say Release Clipping Mask. Okay. And now we can grab that path and delete it. And this leaves us with all of our part files. Now, what you want to do is using your solid arrow, drag around that entire part file, come up to the stroke box and type in 0.001 IN for 0.001 inches and hit enter. It converts it to points, which is 0.072 points. If you have different colors, you want to make sure that you change those colors to be all black. Okay, and you are all set to print. So at this point, you come up to File, you click on Print. Oops. Okay. Now, the printer you want to use is actually the Rayjet Engraver. Then for the media size, rather than defined by driver, use Trotec Default. Okay. Go ahead and come here down to Placement and say 0, tab 0. And that puts your sheet in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, sometimes it's giving you an odd preview. If you come to Setup, say Continue, go to Preferences. This is where you can set the power of the laser. If you're cutting 1/4 inch material, you want the uh, speed of the laser to be at 1.8 to 2% with 100% power. If you're cutting 1/8 inch material, you want it to be in between 2 and 2.5%. So here I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to change the power to be 100% for both materials. For the speed, I'm going to cut 1/4 inch material, so I like using 1.8 speed for that. So 100% power, 1.8% speed. And up here where it says engrave, I'm using black lines for cutting, and so I want to use cut. Next step is to go to settings, change it to black and white, and then go to summary and change it to click Rayjet Start button and then hit the play. That will record your configuration. If you click on print, let's go ahead here and set Trotec default again. What this does is it shows you where your parts are laid out on the Trotec sheet. And it looks like we need to move this up a little bit. So you can kind of in the preview there move it so it's in the upper left hand corner. So this is the 0, 0 corner on your sheet in the laser. You just want to make sure everything fits there. Once you're done, go ahead and click print. And this will send it to the Trotec Mini Manager, and that's accessed by right here. If you right click on that and click on Mini Manager, you can see that it's pulled up here, and when you're ready to print, go ahead and click on the Start button. That's how you use the Trotec.